What's happening, y'alls? Um, I decided to create a YouTube video, uh, YouTube channel. Um, my father passed away, and it really messed me up. Like, seriously messed me up, man. Yeah, I didn't really know. I don't know how to describe it. Didn't really know, how to think properly. Because your mind constantly drifts back to the horrible grief that you're feeling, Um, so, like many people, I watch YouTube. Thank God for YouTube and all the content that's on there, you know. But I stumbled upon this guy called Froggy Flips. I'm sure if you stumbled on my channel, I'm hoping if you stumbled on my channel, and if you did, thanks, man. And I'm sorry for being all emotional. I probably will be that way many times. Kind of that kind of person. I'm wearing them on my sleeve. But anyway, so I started watching Froggy Flips. And it was oddly calming, amazingly calming. Just watching him go through different, items and sift through people's, things that they didn't want. I don't want to say junk because I don't think it's junk. It was, finding things that I remember as a kid. I think he's probably around the same age as me because a lot of the same stuff that he picks up, I would love to own. But, just watching that, helped take my mind off of it and calm me down. And I started watching other, things of that nature, like Al Blades. I don't know if you've seen Al Blades, that he mows lawns. I'm watching somebody mow a lawn, man. And thank God. Thank God for watching somebody go to garage sales and mow lawns. So, Dad passed away on December 18th. And, the winter is, it keeps you in. There's nothing else to do. You don't want to go anywhere. And I didn't go anywhere, obviously. Just sat in and wallowed. Couldn't get my mind off of things. It's crazy that I'm even talking about this. So, watching those videos, springtime came around. And, I started taking a look at Craigslist. I've always been a Craigslist guy. There was a show several years ago called Barter Kings. I don't know if any of you have seen that before, but it was these two guys that they must have owned a pawn shop of some sort, I'm guessing, but it was all about them, trading, and trading up. And I'd never really, thought of that concept. I mean, I remember as a kid, trading. And so I thought that was super, super interesting that adults were still trading things. And trading for really cool stuff, as a matter of fact. So, I started doing that for the heck of it. I was like, okay, well, I'm really good at repairing computers and electronics. I buy iPads and, off of broken iPads off of eBay and then fix them and sell them. I was repairing PlayStation 3s, like back in the day when you get that, like I don't even remember what it was. It was like a blinking black light or blinking red light, I mean, but fix those. And, I'm in the IT business, and I started, with, as help desk basically, and IT technician, building and repairing computers. But um, like I started noticing those garage sale ads, and I was like, maybe I should go to one of those garage sales. And so, I actually started a photography, business. Literally that's on the loosest terms of possible because it was really an excuse to get toys, like in toys means like a drone. I love things that fly. I love remote control items. If I could, play around with something, I'm still a kid at heart. And that's probably why Froggy appealed to me so much because clearly of the same nature, a kid at heart still. And so, I was like, okay, let me go to these garage sales, but I've got, I had one of those Osmo Pockets, the first one. That kind of came along with my, photography company. I was kind of doing virtual tours, and I had a 360 camera, and the drones, and obviously the nicer camera like the Osmo Pocket. I'm actually shooting with the upgraded version, the Osmo Pocket 3. Um, but anyway, so I went on Amazon and I snagged a mount for my chest. I know Froggy has like a backpack he has a like a GoPro type of camera. That's what at least I can see in reflections and in his shadow is what it looks like. But now actually he's got somebody that follows him around. It looks like. But back to what I was trying to say. So, I got him out and I was like, you know what, hell with it. I'm just going to try and start filming. Apologies for the cussing. I tend to use expletives in my commentary. I will try my best to not do that as I make more videos. If you're still watching, thanks a lot. I like to drone on maybe sometimes, but so I went out to these garage sales with my camera, and I just started finding cool things, like really cool things, and talking to people, and I found like I became excited for the first time in a long time, like a long time. It was weird how much excitement that I derived from going to garage sales. I mean, like, I would be up, and I still do it now. But but when I first started doing it, and I started really, after that first time, man, I think I started getting up at like, 4:45 or something. My brain just wouldn't let me sleep, and I'd get up and I'd start, organizing. Oh, okay, like where are all the garage sales at? Like let's look at crazy things. And I started joining Facebook groups. I hate Facebook, but I started. I was like, oh, look at that. There's a garage sale group. So I'm like, who knew? So I started looking at those and going out and like kind of checking them out, and then I started getting a little more organized and started mapping it where I'm like, okay, let's see where I can go. Now like I try and be even more organized, and I don't know if you guys have used ChatGPT, but holy cow, that is like the neatest thing ever. Like I literally take all the addresses that I want to go to, that next day, or my garage sale day that I get to go when I'm not working. Um, I take all those and I feed it in ChatGPT, and I'm like, hey, this is where I live. Find me the best route. Through this maze of addresses. It's like, yeah, yeah, here you go. It's unbelievable. It blows my mind. And if you use that Gemini, Google's version, um, it creates a Google Maps link for you, and it literally just completely builds it for you. So pretty neat. Um, uh, and so those garage sales have actually led to flea markets, which have been a lot of fun. And flea markets have led to auctions, which have been, like that's one of those ones where I need to try and like stay away from, because you get emotional with those auctions. Um, like they're online. I've only been to one, like live one. Holy cow, was it fun too, by the way. It was a lot of fun. And that was probably the most money I think I've spent, was at that live auction. And unfortunately, it's just so much stuff I had that I just wanted. I'm looking at things right now that I should be selling, um, but I just want. So, you know, so that like that garage sale, I do. Like getting off topic here, I like to speak in circles also, but I'll come back. I'll come back. Um, uh, um, so like the bartering, led up and led up, and then I would sell, like whatever it was. And so, like these garage sales, I started selling too. Like I started putting stuff on eBay. And man, I'll be darned, like I started selling the stuff. And it's like, it's a rush, to sell something. When your phone kicks off that eBay sound, it goes cha-ching, right? Man, it's I mean, like it's an addictive hit, man. It makes you feel good. You're like, oh yeah, somebody somewhere on the planet just bought something from me. And I mean like literally somewhere on the planet. I've sold people in like Portugal. I've got one that I just shipped out yesterday to France. It was a $6 million man puzzle. $6 million man puzzle. Somebody in France wanted. And I looked, where they lived. Man, I had no idea a place like that existed in France. I can't remember the name, but it was like on the southern coast of France, and it was just unbelievable. It's so cool to, just to, like be able to find things that other people find is really cool, but at the same time make money. So, I kind of changed that focus of like going to garage sales, and I'm like, well, don't just buy and sell things for no reason, right? Because that's kind of what I started thinking. I was like, I'm just gonna, just to occupy the time, right? And then, it's kind of aimless, right? You're aimless. So then I was like, well, um, my father was from Sri Lanka, and it's been a very long time since I've been to Sri Lanka, and actually since 2002. It was the summer after 9/11. Um, they didn't have this whole security very locked down, so it was different. When brown folk went through the line, that random check got a lot less random. But I understand. Keep us safe for sure. Like that was a horrible time. But so I was thinking, make enough money to, go to Sri Lanka, off of it. I was thinking, shooting for the moon, and I was like, hey, we're gonna fly business class, right? Business class is like 8 grand a seat to go to Sri Lanka. So it was like, pretty lofty goals there. And there would be 4 of us. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of dimph. I mean, that's a lot of money just for a seat on a plane. Like, that's somebody's salary, actually. I mean, that's a crazy amount of money. And so obviously I'm not doing that. Now, if you can do that kind of thing, man, more power to you. Awesome. I mean, like, I applaud you for doing so well financially. You can see where I'm sitting in my basement right now, and we'll probably talk a lot from my basement. This is actually where I do all of my listings. It's just like a gray sheet. Then I have a hanging and ruler, and I've got a vacuum here to try and clean things and rubbing alcohol. So I made quite a decent amount of money, but like this game of eBay, it's a lot of buying and selling, and so you have to walk a line, and I haven't learned yet. I don't know anything, and about this game really, other than you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent, and I'm not consistent about selling as much as I am about buying. I love going to the garage sales. I love going to flea markets. I love going to estate sales. It's so much fun. But now, I've gotten better about being picky. Before it was like, if it said Star Wars on it, man, I'm buying it. I'm still buying that Star Wars. I gotta admit, I have a problem. My mom has told me so. Yeah, my mom told me so. Anyway, but I am selling stuff. That says Star Wars. I've sold stuff. Anyway, so I, like I've got a lot of footage, and I have not done anything with it. So this is actually a video. Actually, it's a year after I started collecting content with my camera, and it's taken me to toy shows even, and Comic Cons. So I'm gonna be taking you guys on some pretty cool journeys. Hopefully you have a lot of fun coming around with me. Hopefully I get better, at making videos. Like I said, I'm not gonna apologize for being emotional. That's who I am. I do apologize for my profanity, though. I sometimes kick that off. I'm thinking that, we'll probably talk about, who knows what we'll talk about. We'll talk about everything. Like, I don't know if anything is going to be off the table. I am a, like, pretty biased person when it comes to certain things, like, I can be kind of OCD. There's no doubt about that, actually. There's no kind of, I definitely, about certain things, I am OCD. But other things, not so much. But I don't mind hitting those hard subjects, maybe necessarily, and so I recorded a couple of videos of me just packing my stuff up, and so I was thinking about, seeing what you guys thought about that too, while I talk. But I figure I'll just ramble. We'll see how it goes. Maybe, there'll be some structure, as time goes on. Better editing, maybe music. Maybe some zooming in, some zooming out. Maybe good lighting. I do have some cool lighting though. It can go from, ooh, look at that. They call that warm. This is cold. And this is white. Oh, white is so bright. Now it's 20%. Anyway, I'm a nerd. I like toys, man. I like toys. I like technology. Love my family. That's my dad, big time. You know. Anyway, we'll talk. We'll talk more about that. I've already rambled on long enough. So weird. So weird. Not just talking to you, but talking about things. Anyway. Alright. Love you guys. Deuces.